Welcome to Ancient Chronicles AI. Here, we cross the line between what is known and what is denied, stepping into the ancient cosmic war. Light versus darkness. Chapter 1. The first shattering of the heavens before time was measured. The celestial realms existed in perfect harmony, woven together by currents of pure radiance. The light flowed freely across the infinite expanse, forming rivers of brilliance that nourished every being born of the source. In this primordial peace, no shadow stirred, and no discord marred the eternal symphony of creation. But deep within the fabric of the heavens, a subtle tension began to form, like a hairline crack in flawless crystal. This fracture rippled outward, silent yet devastating, splitting the unity of the celestial realms. From the rupture emerged a strange distortion, a darkness that had never before existed in the realm of eternal light. The beings of radiance recoiled in astonishment, for the shadow carried a will of its own, hungry, ambitious, and unbound. Where the light sought harmony, the shadow sought dominion, whispering promises of power to those who listened. The celestial orders felt the balance shift as the first division in creation took root. Some beings remained loyal to the source, their radiance unwavering and pure. Others were drawn toward the rising shadow, believing it offered freedom from the harmony they once cherished. The heavens trembled as the first cosmic rift widened, marking the beginning of a conflict older than time itself. And in that moment, the universe learned that even in realms of perfect light, darkness can be born. Before time had a name, a fracture split the celestial realms, birthing the first shadow and dividing the radiant beings into forces of light and darkness, setting the stage for the ancient cosmic war that would shape all existence. Chapter 2. The birth of the celestial orders. From the infinite brilliance of the source, the first waves of creation surged outward like tides of living light. These waves condensed into luminous beings, each shaped with intention, harmony, and purpose. They emerged fully aware, their consciousness woven from the very essence of divine radiance. Some were formed as guardians, their presence steady and unyielding like pillars of cosmic fire. Others were crafted as messengers, swift as thought and able to traverse realms in a single breath. There were healers whose touch restored balance, and singers whose voices resonated with the music of creation. Together they formed the celestial orders, a vast hierarchy united by devotion to the source. Each order carried a unique resonance, a frequency that contributed to the harmony of the heavens. Their movements shaped the early cosmos, guiding the formation of stars, realms, and unseen dimensions. They maintained the equilibrium between expansion and stillness, ensuring creation unfolded in perfect rhythm. The celestial orders worked in unity, their radiance interwoven like threads of a single divine tapestry. But even in this harmony, the memory of the first fracture lingered, a reminder that not all beings would remain aligned with the light. Still, the orders stood vigilant, sworn to guard the balance of creation against any rising shadow. And in their brilliance, the heavens shone with a purity that had not yet been challenged by the coming war. From the heart of the source arise the celestial order's luminous beings, forged with purpose and harmony, destined to guard the balance of creation and uphold the radiant architecture of the cosmos, before darkness dares to challenge their unity. Chapter 3. The rise of the shadow sovereign among the celestial orders. One archon shone brighter than most, his radiance sharp and commanding like a blade of living light. He was forged with immense power and insight, a being meant to guide and harmonize the younger orders. But over ages uncounted, his gaze turned inward, drawn not to the source, but to the brilliance of his own reflection. Ambition stirred within him, subtle at first, then growing like a storm, gathering behind a silent horizon. He questioned why harmony must bind all beings, why creation should follow a single will, not its own. These thoughts, once unthinkable, began to reshape his essence, dimming his radiance and twisting it into something new. From this inner distortion, the first true darkness was born, not absence of light, but light corrupted by desire. The Archon embraced this shadow, finding in it a power unrestrained by the laws of the source. He proclaimed himself sovereign, declaring that creation should bow not to harmony, but to strength and dominion. Whispers of rebellion spread through the celestial realms, as some beings felt the pull of his rising power. Those who longed for autonomy, authority, or release from the cosmic order gathered around him. Their radiance dimmed as they aligned with his vision, becoming the first legion of the shadow. The celestial orders watched in sorrow and disbelief as one of their brightest became the architect of discord. And with his ascension, the balance of the heavens shifted, marking the beginning of a war that would echo across eternity. A once radiant archon turns inward and becomes the shadow sovereign, earthing the first darkness and gathering followers who believe creation should bow to their will, igniting the ancient conflict that will reshape the fate of all realms. Chapter 4. The War of the First Light. The celestial realms trembled as the first armies of brilliance assembled, their radiance blazing like newborn stars. Across the vast expanse, the legions of shadow gathered in answer, their forms shifting like living night. The clash between light and darkness erupted with a force that shook the foundations of existence. Every strike of radiant power carved new pathways through the heavens, reshaping the very fabric of creation. The shadow legions countered with waves of corruption that twisted space into spirals of void. Celestial guardians soared through the chaos, their wings trailing arcs of pure illumination. The fallen archons unleashed storms of darkness that devoured entire regions of the astral sky. Where light and shadow collided, realms shattered, birthing rifts that echoed across eternity. The celestial orders fought with unwavering resolve, determined to preserve the harmony of the source. But the shadow sovereign's forces were relentless, driven by ambition and the promise of dominion. Battles raged across dimensions, each victory and loss altering the balance of the cosmos. The heavens became a battlefield of unimaginable scale, where every moment forged new destinies. And as the war intensified, both sides realized that the conflict would not end quickly, nor without devastating cost. The War of the First Light had begun, and creation itself hung in the balance. The celestial realms erupt into a cosmic war as radiant armies clash with legions of shadow, their battles tearing open rifts, reshaping dimensions, and marking the beginning of a conflict so vast that the fate of all existence trembles beneath its weight. Chapter 5. The Fall of the Outer Realms. As the War of the First Light raged on, the outermost realms of creation bore the brunt of the cosmic devastation. These realms, once vibrant with newborn stars and crystalline landscapes, trembled beneath the clash of radiant and shadowed forces. Each battle tore open rifts that destabilized the delicate structures holding these dimensions together. Entire regions collapsed into spirals of void, consumed by the gravitational pull of unrestrained darkness. Celestial guardians fought desperately to preserve the boundaries of existence, but the onslaught was relentless. The Shadow Sovereign's legions unleashed waves of corruption that infected the very essence of the realms. Mountains of light crumbled into ash, and rivers of brilliance dimmed into stagnant pools of twilight. Some dimensions twisted into labyrinths of fractured time, where echoes of the war repeated endlessly. Others became wastelands of frozen starlight, haunted by the remnants of fallen celestial beings. The celestial orders mourned the loss of these realms, knowing they had once been sanctuaries of harmony and creation. Yet they could not retreat, for every moment of hesitation allowed the shadow to spread further. The fall of the outer realms marked a turning point in the war, revealing the true cost of the conflict. What had begun as a fracture in the heavens had now become a cataclysm threatening all existence. And in the ruins of the shattered dimensions, the echoes of the ancient battles lingered, whispering of a war that would never be forgotten. Entire dimensions collapse under the weight of the cosmic war, transforming into twisted wastelands where time fractures, light decays, and the echoes of celestial conflict linger eternally across the broken edges of creation. Chapter 6. The Sealing of the Abyssal Gate. As the war dragged on, the celestial orders realized that defeating the Shadow Sovereign outright was impossible. His power had grown too vast, fed by the fallen realms and the corruption spreading through the cosmic rifts. Every clash with him tore new wounds into creation, threatening to unravel the heavens themselves. The radiant councils gathered in solemn unity, forging a desperate plan that would alter the fate of all existence. They resolved to imprison the Shadow Sovereign within the abyss, a void realm formed from the deepest fractures of the war. To seal this realm, they began weaving a cosmic barrier forged from pure source light and the combined essence of the orders. The ritual required unimaginable sacrifice, demanding that many of the brightest beings pour their radiance into the gate. As the barrier formed, the Shadow Sovereign unleashed a final onslaught, shaking the heavens with his fury. The celestial guardians held the line, their brilliance dimming as they channeled their strength into the ceiling. With a thunderous surge of divine force, the abyssal gate closed, trapping the sovereign and his inner legion within. But the victory came at a terrible cost, for the orders were left fractured, weakened, and forever changed. Many who gave their essence to the barrier faded into silence, their light now part of the eternal seal. Others emerged diminished, their unity shattered by grief, exhaustion, and the scars of betrayal. The heavens grew quieter, dimmer, as the celestial orders struggled to rebuild what had been lost. And though the Shadow Sovereign was imprisoned, the wound left by the sealing would echo across ages yet to come. The forces of light forge a cosmic barrier to imprison the Shadow Sovereign, sealing him within the abyss at the cost of their own unity, leaving the celestial orders fractured, dimmed, and forever marked by the sacrifice that saved creation. Chapter 7. The Exile of the Fallen Legions. When the abyssal gate sealed shut, the Shadow Sovereign's inner circle was imprisoned, but countless others escaped its pull. These fallen legions, stripped of their leader, yet still burning with corrupted radiance, scattered across the wounded cosmos. They fled into the hidden corners of creation, slipping through fractures left behind by the war's devastation. Some burrowed into the ruins of the outer realms, feeding on the remnants of shattered dimensions. Others cloaked themselves in the folds of uncharted voids, waiting for the moment to rise again. Though defeated, they were far from broken, for their ambition had not dimmed with their exile. They vowed to continue the sovereign's vision, not through open war, but through subtle corruption. Where once they sought dominion by force, they now sought influence through deception and infiltration. They whispered into the currents of creation, twisting the flow of energy in realms untouched by conflict. They learned to mask their presence, appearing as guides, guardians, or even beings of light to the unwary. Their corruption seeped into newborn worlds, planting seeds of discord that would grow over ages. The celestial orders sensed their lingering presence, but lacked the unity to hunt them across the fractured cosmos. Thus the fallen legions became shadows behind creation's curtain, shaping destinies from the unseen. And though the war had ended, the true battle had merely changed form, shifting from cosmic clashes to hidden influence. Defeated but unbroken, the dark legions scatter into hidden realms, vowing to corrupt creation from within rather than through open war, becoming silent architects of discord whose influence will echo through every age to come. Chapter 8. The Secret War on the Mortal Plane. As the echoes of the cosmic war faded, a new realm emerged, fragile, young, and filled with untapped potential. This realm was the mortal plane, a world where time flowed in a single direction and life unfolded through countless small beginnings. Humanity rose slowly, unaware of the ancient conflict that had shaped the heavens above them. Yet both light and darkness watched closely, recognizing that mortals carried within them a spark capable of shifting the balance. The celestial orders sought to guide humanity gently, whispering inspiration into the hearts of prophets, dreamers, and visionaries. They nudged civilizations toward harmony, justice, and the remembrance of the inner light. But the fallen legions moved just as subtly, weaving doubt, ambition, and fear into the fabric of human thought. They whispered to kings and conquerors, turning desire into tyranny and curiosity into corruption. Myths, religions, and legends formed as humanity sensed these unseen influences shaping their destinies. Some stories carried fragments of truth, echoes of the ancient war hidden beneath symbols and metaphors. Other tales were distortions planted by the fallen, designed to confuse, divide, or lead mortals astray. Every great rise and every catastrophic fall bore the fingerprints of forces beyond human sight. The mortal plane became a silent battlefield where choices, beliefs, and intentions carried cosmic weight. And though humanity remained unaware of the full scope of the conflict, their actions rippled through the heavens, influencing the balance between light and darkness. As humanity rises, unseen forces of light and darkness shape civilizations, myths, and destinies, turning the mortal world into a subtle battlefield where every choice echoes the ancient cosmic war still unfolding beyond human sight. Chapter 9. A prophecy of the returning dawn. In the quiet aftermath of the cosmic war, ancient seers gazed into the fractured currents of creation. They saw visions woven from threads of light and shadow, glimpses of a future where the conflict would rise again. These visions spoke of a time when the abyss would tremble, and the imprisoned sovereign would stir in his eternal darkness. The seers warned that the fallen legions, scattered across hidden realms, would gather strength in secret. They foresaw the mortal plane becoming the fulcrum upon which the fate of all realms would turn. Amid these revelations, one prophecy shone brighter than all others, the prophecy of the returning dawn. It foretold the awakening of a chosen soul, born in the mortal world, yet carrying the dormant essence of the first light. This soul would rise not through power or conquest, but through remembrance of their true celestial origin. The seers described a moment when the ancient radiance, long dimmed by sacrifice, would ignite once more within a human heart. With this awakening, the balance between light and darkness would shift, drawing the cosmic war back into motion. Some celestial beings awaited this dawn with hope, believing it would restore harmony to the fractured heavens. Others feared it, knowing that the return of the first light would expose their hidden corruption. The prophecy spread through realms like a whispered flame, carried by angels, mystics, and wandering spirits. And though its fulfillment remained distant, the universe held its breath, sensing that the returning dawn would one day reshape all existence. Ancient seers foretell a time when the cosmic war will reignite, and a chosen soul will awaken the dormant power of the first light, becoming the spark that will determine whether creation rises into harmony or falls into eternal shadow. Chapter 10. The final convergence of light and shadow in the age to come. The boundaries between the celestial and mortal realms begin to dissolve. The fractures left by the ancient war widen, allowing currents of radiance and shadow to spill into the human world. Signs appear across creation stars dimming, visions awakening, and forgotten prophecies stirring from their long silence. The fallen legions move openly for the first time in ages, weaving influence through kingdoms, empires, and wandering souls. The celestial orders descend in response, their diminished light rekindled by the urgency of the coming convergence. Humanity stands at the center of the unfolding storm, unaware that their choices now shape the fate of all realms. The chosen soul of the returning dawn begins to awaken, sensing echoes of a power older than the cosmos itself. As their inner light stirs, forces of both radiance and shadow are drawn toward them like tides to a rising moon. The abyssal gate trembles, its ancient seals straining under the shadow sovereign's growing influence. Whispers spread across the heavens that the sovereign's return is no longer a distant threat, but an imminent reality. The celestial and mortal realms collide in visions, dreams, and manifestations that reshape the fabric of existence. All beings angelic, fallen, and mortal are pulled into the final movement of a war that began before time. The convergence reveals truths long hidden, the origin of the fracture, the purpose of creation, and the destiny of the first light. And as the last veil lifts, the universe stands poised between renewal and ruin, awaiting the moment when light and shadow meet for the final time. In the age to come, the celestial and mortal realms collide, unveiling the true nature of the ancient war and drawing all existence into a final convergence where the fate of creation will be decided by the awakening of the first light and the rise of the returning shadow. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you never miss what comes next. Until then, stay curious, stay aware, and keep searching the shadows. Take care.